simply was I was stopped at an intersection going onto the highway here in Phoenix, Arizona. And the reason I stopped with the green light is because oncoming to me was an emergency vehicle flashing the lights, siren ringing. It was probably, I think it was an ambulance. And so I stopped in the left-hand lane going south on the I-17 and northern. And that was what cabbies do, especially being a professional driver, as I have claimed to be. And when I came to a full and complete stop in my tiny little Toyota Prius, a Silverado 2500 hauling a trailer full of palm clippings determined that they would not stop with the three passengers inside. One, a young Mexican national, very nice gentleman, turned out to be a nice guy, who was not carrying his license, his Mexican license at the time, but fully insured, rammed into the back of my cab and hit me as hard as a truck could hit a small Prius at a full stop, ready to go on the highway himself. And I tell you, first I thought I was fine. First I thought I was just fine. And within an hour, I realized I was far less than fine. And so did all the things I was supposed to do, exchange information, call the cops, yada, yada, yada. Called my wife, who I love, Lena Rice. Thank you so much, my baby. Called my good friend, Paul Patan. All of these individuals suggested that since I may be out of work, I might want to get some legal representation, which I did. Right then, right there. And as the onset of whiplash encroached into my being, the stars and the lights, and the pain I was seeing, I was told by the attorney to, hey, at some point you need to let the cab people know that you've got an attorney because, this guy's fully insured. It's his fault. You're not at fault. Okay, cool. So in the hospital, just about to take my x-rays because I went to emergency care. I went to, the urgent care first. Urgent care heard my story and sent me to the hospital. And the hospital at Bethany Central, Abrazo. People who are in Arizona know where that's at. And just as I was about to take my x-rays, I said, you know what? I forgot to tell my cab folks that I have a lawyer because I don't want them to kind of meet my lawyer talking to this guy's insurance in the middle. And so I briefly let them know, hey, just let you know I called an attorney. And within 20 minutes, they were there collecting the cab, and I've never talked to him since. At the hospital, day of the accident, Monday before last. Literally 20 minutes after talking with a guy on the phone who turned from a very nice, cordial conversation of how you doing? Are you okay? Anybody hurt? Was there a cat? Oh, no. Get to you, need the hospital. Da, 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 da. Him being really nice up to that point, when I said that I had an attorney, he turned into Cujo, into a demon. And, basically give me the cab, give me the keys to the cab, and having a good life. Bye. So I got a little clarity on why that happened, and I understand it. And of course, my attorney has told me don't talk to them now. They will take care of everything, and we shall see how it goes. So from that moment on, between going to physical therapy and all these other things, which I needed so badly, I began to increase the need to provide PDF files of educational value to the Negroes that are woke in this country awaiting our exodus. And I have a slew of them. I have so many PDFs, it can't be even explained. I've got some great information. I've got some great titles. I've got some fascinating material. And for donations that I gladly accept, need, and pray that you all want to be reading, I would gladly provide you those PDFs. And hopefully we'll get some of those PDFs out to you. For those of you that want to see the list, I will show you the list. You will get the gist, and none of this information you will have missed. All right, so that kind of fills in on what's happened to me over the last 2-3 weeks or so. Got hit by a car, and now I'm doing the show. All right, so now if you didn't catch some of the last stuff that I put out there, if you didn't catch some of the remotes that I did before I got hurt, when I went to the park and I showed you my face, I'm not scared to show my face. I'm not saying anybody that isn't showing their face is scared. That's not what I'm saying. I just don't give a damn. That's all. That's all, folks. I don't care. I've been doing this since 2020, since January 6, 2020, y'all. who have kept up with me when I watched the hillbillies lose their goddamn minds. That's right, I'm here. And determined to expose to all of you the eventuality of what actually happened, which they all got released. They all got pardoned, didn't they? Huh? They sure did. Huh. I told you nothing would become of it on January 6, 2020. I told you that. All right, 2021, whenever. I told you that. They would not suffer the consequences that black people would suffer. They certainly didn't get shot out in the streets. You know? Let me cough. They did not get their comeuppance as black people would have had they decided to storm the capital of the United States of America. Blood in the streets, the blood that would have been flowing. Everybody here in this room is knowing. No, what they did is they waited for the tide to turn. They waited, and then we learned, there they go, getting a pardon from the new orange menace back in the White House, and there he is. And that leads me to today's topic. Hopefully you guys are going to keep up because, I'm wound up now. That's what's happening. Twice I tried to do this show. Twice I was denied. And so there you go. And so what are we talking about here? We're talking about comeuppance. Today's topic is about comeuppance, folks. The reckoning awaiting white people. And let me just say this now. When I talk about white folks, y'all know the white folks I'm talking about, just like we know the niggas they talking about when they talk about niggas. What? This is not a G-rated show. I am not a spiritual advisor. No, I will use profanity on that ass. Don't play. All right. Plus, again, as I said, I'm a little wound up because I've been stalled today. I tried to get this done at 2:00. You know what I'm saying? And Restream had other plans, playing with my sound, playing with my voice. And now, of course, I can be heard, and I appreciate it. All right, so there is a reckoning that is coming. Do you understand? When I say there is a reckoning, I am not playing. I am not playing in the least. Okay? These folks have payback coming. Let's just say it. That and the real issue is what they're doing right now is they're spending most of their time doing everything they can to avoid the inevitable. Now, what I haven't done in doing these lives, I've not read to you some of what I determined to talk about. I've never really done that. I've not really read to you, what it is that we'll be talking about on any particular live. I've not done that before. And I do believe I'm going to do it today. So here we go. Today's topic is about the reckoning awaiting white people. And today I'm going to be going over the reckoning awaiting white people, discussing the eventuality that so many of them refuse to acknowledge and prepare for. I've had this talk with quite a few that are willing to listen, have moved most to admit the course of action begun so long ago by their ancestors is one that will soon be remedied through a retribution to be administered harshly to both them and their offspring. They've done all that they can to hide the facts of their vile, destructive, murderous history. And in recent days, that story is being exposed to the world, bringing clarity and focus to the crimes that have been committed, yet have gone mostly ignored and unanswered for, dangling participle aside. Today, we delve into the logic and reasoning of reckoning. We explore the totality of recompense. Hear me. Most white people truly believe there will be no punishment administered to them for the heinous and barbaric conduct carried out by our ancestors. But nature, as we all know, abhors a vacuum. And the vile, airless void left behind must and will be filled by the offspring of those who benefited and prospered the most from the tyranny of systematic white supremacy. They must understand that in accepting all of the ill-gotten gain received from the blood spilled upon the soil of the United States, they took with it a debt. That debt has been passed down to and through the progeny placed in the escrow accounting of history. as a marker of an immense negative balance soon to be collected by the merchant of prophecy. The balance is due, and they will have to pay. That is what we'll talk about today. And as I've said in the description of this particular live, I have had the opportunity to talk to some of them directly to their face, in their face, at length, in the back of my cab and other areas in life. Those who are brave enough to have the discussion that puts them on edge with me have that discussion with me, and they leave the discussion more learned, more informed, a little bit nervous too, if I might say. Because there is a great price to be paid. Listen, folks. I mean, let's not screw about. They know exactly what we're talking about. They know it. And how do we know that they know there's a debt that's going to be paid by their progeny, by their children? Because they're running around these days like chickens with their heads cut off. They are nervous as cats in a rocking chair factory. And by that, I mean, there's no relaxation in a rocking chair factory for cats who want to sit idly and wag their tails. Let me tell you something, man. You look about the United States of America and how much land they have acquired, the wealth, prestige, the generational wealth that all of them believe they are entitled to. And you hear that entitlement come from so many of them, ignorant and stupid. These individuals have no idea that when they took all that they took through blood and murder and rape and dishonesty and bad dealings, setups and theft, when they did that, they incurred a debt. Yes, they did. They incurred a debt, and they passed that debt unknowingly to their children. But they didn't tell their children about the debt. They didn't inform their children how it is they got so much land. How'd they get so much wealth? All they did was write in a will and bequeath to their children all the riches and holdings that they had to pass down generationally, omitting the fact that upon receipt of such holdings, you will incur the debt owed in blood, and it will be paid. I've had this conversation with them. I've had this conversation with a plenty of them. I asked them pointedly, let me ask you a question. You see all this. You know how this was obtained. You folks aren't honest, upright, upstanding, good people. You're monsters. You're animals. You're murderers. You're rapists. You didn't get all of this property because you made a deal. What you did was you thieved, you murdered, and you steal everything. And what isn't really known, what isn't really passed on to your generations, is that, with this price comes the cost of inflation, and that inflation will be paid to the blood of your children. You see, I know folks, I don't know if you listen to Big Judah. I've listened to him a little bit before he kind of, he's doing kind of interesting things with his ministry. And again, that's a ministry. I'm not a spiritual advisor, but I like the term that Big Judah uses. He said, they took the bag. Boy, they took the bag, didn't they? Yes, you did. You took the bag, and with it, you took the debt. You see, you can't take all that has been taken the way it was taken and not incur payback for all that was done to get it. The one thing I see white folks, and again, let me clarify, I mean the white folks that we're talking about. I don't mean the white folks that ignore what I'm saying. I'm talking about the white folks that own what comes out of my mouth and get in their feelings, and then suddenly the conversation goes south. I'm talking about those folks. I'm not talking about the ones that are conscious, quietly go about their lives, understanding that there's going to be a reckoning coming. I'm talking about those that deny the facts. You can't get all of this and not expect payback. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And the same way and the same energy that was put out to get all of the holdings gotten by the United States wealth, that wealth distribution done through all sorts of mechanisms that are in place to this day, holding at bay what they consider the payback that is soon to be put upon them. You can't do all of that and not expect it to come back to you, because it's coming. And let me go back to it. How do they know? How do we know they know? They know, we know because of the way they're carrying themselves. Now, they are doing everything they can to prepare to stave off the inevitable. As their numbers decline, as their inability to procreate comes to mind, we see what's going to happen to them because they telegraph it. They're doing everything they can to the orange menace of a man they've put back in office, and with him this South African nightmare, a reject from apartheid times, who walks about with a chip on his shoulder against everything that is Negro. They know exactly what must be done to equal the measure that they met out against all of those who they stole from and benefit from to this day. They feel it slipping through their fingers. They know that eventually they'll have to pay, and pay they will. And again, in having these conversations with so many of them that are willing to listen, when I make the point isn't missing. They understand. And some I've asked, you see how you got all of this. Do you expect that everything will simply be swept under the rug and all will be forgotten and you'll be raptured up into a heaven with no penance to pay for what you've done here? And when they hear me explain how what they've got was gotten, they begin to reflect. They begin to understand. You killed so many people. You think those deaths are just going to go unanswered? You murdered so many people, entire families, generations. You put reservations where they are made to stay today for the wealth that you have eventually had come your way. You think that that is simply going to go unanswered. As I said, nature abhors a vacuum, and they've created a vacuum of immense pressure and power. And the seals are straining, which keep that lack of air obtaining. These individuals know that eventually the seals are going to have to go. And it may not be by the hands of man that this reckoning makes its stand. There may be other forces that come to the fore. We see the rest of the world growing tired of European white homogeny. I believe that's the word. We see the world growing tired of white supremacy. What is it that America is good for now? Nothing. Nothing. They've hollowed out their population through war after war after war, and left in place the likes of people we call Donald Trump. Folks that have never done anything for anyone except themselves, for themselves, by themselves, with themselves. You could see the folks, and they could see it coming as well. They knew that this would be an eventuality. And now they're doing everything they can to increase their ranks. Donald Trump is threatening to annex Greenland. He wants to take Canada. My goodness. And you'd almost ask yourself, is he somehow a part of the plan to end America? Is he conscious of the fact that since there will be a reckoning, perhaps we should wreck it before that reckoning comes a beckoning? I don't know. He seems to be making all the moves needed to make the United States go. If you guys are paying attention to tariffs, you know that tariffs never work. Tariffs lead to war. So now he's tariffed other countries and he'll tariff even more. But pressure has made him stave off the tariffs, and the tariffs put in place in retribution to the tariffs put in the first place are still remaining. Canada, who put tariffs on the United States products in retribution or in response to Mr. Trump's moves, have not removed the tariffs. And I wonder what that's going to prove. Trump has put off the tariffs enforcement until April 1st. Canada's tariffs remain in play. Mexico, Ms. Sheinbaum, I believe that's her name, president, I believe that's her name. Very smart woman. She seems to have quite a bit to say to Donald Trump and says it expertly in perfect Spanish. I listen to the translations, and she is putting her foot up his mental ass. And it's proving once again that Trump has no class. Yes, the grading, it's declining. Pretty soon it won't be around. And how they intend to make them sabotage. There it is there. It seems like it's a sabotage. A lot has been said about his being a Russian asset. And he's making all the moves to make something happen in the country, to put in place perhaps something else. I've said it on some of the social media platforms. Since they know that a reckoning is coming, since they know that their children bear the brunt, thieving and murdering they've done to build this country as quietly as they can. There's talk of trying to pardon Mr. Chauvin. I believe that's his name. Chauvin, whatever. The guy that killed George Floyd. And this impose whatever martial law, whatever mechanism they intend to use to try to stranglehold the population of the United States and get their hands on Negroes, because that's really their end game. You see, the associative demise the United States has in mind, well, it involves Negroes. But don't let them drive us out of our minds. Don't allow them to push your buttons into the streets, because they're going to have plenty of cops and soldiers there for you to meet. Let them decline. Let them go into obscurity. Let the hillbillies begin to fight one another. I mean, because that is really the mechanism, the end time event that I believe is approaching fast without relent. Yes, there is a price to pay. Many, and told them reason with me that perhaps you've laid a foundation that ends in your demise. At least that's what I see in my Negro eyes. And there's not too many that can argue the point. And it's time for Negroes to get out south. You know, it's probably in our best interest to leave as quickly and as quietly as possible. And they seem to be putting in place mechanisms to that's something you don't want to do. You guys see what's happening, the planes falling out of the sky, the fires that are occurring all over the place. Slowly but surely, America is falling apart, being pushed at all those seams holding together the fabric of this country being tested and torn. There is a reckoning coming, awaiting white people. And you can see it in their countenance. You can see that they're afraid. But listen, folks, I, I this particular part of the country over the last year, and you can see that there's a white nationalism. It's not just the the, the right wing neo-Nazi kind of nationalistic fervor that I see being imposed on these frail beings. It's fear. It's fear. When I tell you to get that goddamned grin off your faces, what I'm doing is I'm putting you in a position to see what they are truly like. Because without a grin on your face, with a serious countenance on a Negro's face, they expose their fear, their nervousness, their timidity. You know, and either one of two things will happen. They'll either distance themselves from you, give you a wide berth, or they might approach you and ask if everything's okay, as if your countenance is any of their business at any particular time. They're as nervous as cats. They are as nervous as cats. I want you to consider, without a smile on your Negro face, a white man looks at you, are you telling me that they can't envision what you go through? They don't want to be a black man. And if they don't see a grin on your face, well, that makes them pretty nervous. What they do is they play in their mind what's going through yours. And it's more likely quite accurate, you can be sure. They know what we should be thinking regarding our presence here. So much has come out of the last year or so regarding the history, and the information just goes to and fro. You know, I mean, just think of some of the things they've done to us just in jest. They made Nat's juice, after killing Nat Turner. They put his body, congealed it, put it into some liquid form, and sold it as Nat's juice. They would tie a pregnant Negro woman up to something, cut out her belly, cut her, and then make bets as to who would die first. The unborn fetus in the black woman's belly, or the black woman itself. These are things that they did to entertain themselves. Picnics. Well, that goes without saying. We know what picnics were doing. And they wasn't playing. These are the pastimes of these demons that surround us. And as that sun energizes and throws all the electromagnetic particles going at light speed passing through the earth, it does something to these creatures, just as it does something to the planet. It exposes them. It reveals them. It tells on them. When I tell you that light itself rejects these beings, all you got to do is point a camera at them and you'll see what I'm seeing. That's all. Their time is nearly complete. Their time is nearly up. We know this. My job, your job is to simply stay alive, survive, so that we see their end. Give me a second. And we shall see it, Negroes. If you are adept, stealthy enough to miss, if you have the forethought and foresight not to show any resistance, when activities begin, And if you just remember to remove that damn grin, might you might survive enough to see what's happening. This is going to happen. You know, the balance will occur. They don't believe it. They truly don't. There are those that believe that they're going to get away scot-free, that there'll never be an answer for the lynchings, the murderings, the castrations, the burning alive. They'll never answer for the, well, made by the United States government. They never follow through. Everybody gets reparations except Negro. And they just think that's just the way it goes. Well, that's not how it's going to go. There is a debt that must be paid, a balance that must be equal, and it will be equal, and it will be done. And pretty soon they're going to be on the run. All right, my name's Doug Rice. I don't even know the time this thing is. A new edifice for me. 40 minutes, that's not too bad, folks, and I appreciate you listening to what I'm saying. I will tell you, as time goes on, these white folks ain't playing. They are dangerous. They are becoming more and more. The better off, give them yards, don't give them inches. Okay, this is a truism. These folks are unpredictable and they're unsafe, and they realize what may soon come upon them. Now, as I said I would, I do want to share with you the PDF files that I have available. And I am going to do that, hopefully, in the correct manner. Please bear with me. Hopefully you can still see me. I think you can. And this is just a new way of doing things. But let me show you, hopefully this, will it work? Oh, it will work. All right. So the PDF files that I have, works of Flavius. These are the PDF files that I have available for those of you who may want to support this effort. They are great in number. I also have a price, if you will, or a donation list that is, I don't think I've uploaded it in this particular platform, but here are some of the titles that I have. As you read through those titles, understand that some of these PDFs are short, some of them are rather lengthy. This is, I think, a real good way of throwing out education to the Negro Nation. We need this kind of education. We desperately need never to forget. And some of these PDFs are the best yet. So I'll let that play, let that roll a bit. I'm wondering if, while I'm here, I can get another background while that rolls. I think I'd be able to do that. Yes, there we go. All right, so they're uploading something here. Hopefully it doesn't show it. All right. So those are the PDF files that I have that are available. And I would hope that any of you want to show support of this effort, especially today's effort being as laboriously put together and completed. I truly pray that you decide to get some of these PDF files unimpeded. All right. Pretty long list. All of the apocalypse, some of the apocrypha, all of these PDFs I have available, and I have been emailing them out for the donations, all the support. I feel a little bit better I'm going through this physical therapy. I did get hit hard, and so I'm not driving a cab anymore, and now have to try my best to be of value to the congregation, to Zion. And the only way I think I might be trying is offering education, offering a way to expand our mind. And hopefully, a few of you may be inclined to support the Doug Rice Show, not just because I say so. All right, folks. I do appreciate your time being here. Hopefully, I get through this. I think this is a 4-minute video. The fourth part is pretty good. Gulf of Tonkin, Forest Passages, Enoch's Dream, Dogs of the Conquest, very good. Demonology by King James, Color of Law, COINTELPRO, very, very good. Campaign Against CRT is a pretty good read. The Caesar's Messiah, also an interesting PDF file to have. Black Judaism, the FBI files of Black Americans. All of these are available to you through donation, and hopefully I may get a few of you within the nation to want a few. There's Baruch 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I believe we're almost done with that list. And there it is. All right, there it is, and there is the price, if you will, the donation sheet itself. Let me see. I'm going to take myself off here a sec. Boom. Hopefully you can see. Yes, I can see that the more files you order, the more they are each. And I try not to make the price too far out of reach. But there you have it. And there it is. And I am now back, center mass, back to biz. All right. Well, my name is Doug Rice. I do appreciate you being here. I hope I have given you something to hear. I pray that maybe next time I'll have a better track record of getting this information out. And I hope so. All right. Well, let me go. All right, folks. Appreciate your listening to me. I do indeed. And again, hopefully you order PDFs that you can read. All right. You guys have a wonderful day. And please, again, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this live. You guys have yourself a wonderful day. Thanks.